Coffee, that dark and mysterious beverage that accompanies our mornings, our conversations, and even our moments of introspection. But have you ever wondered how this brew became one of the most consumed drinks in the world? Or what impact it has had on our history, culture, and even our spirituality? They say that coffee awakens the mind, but what few people know is that it has also sparked revolutions, inspired great philosophical works, and challenged established norms. Since its discovery, it has been seen as a divine elixir, a satanic threat, a symbol of rebellion, and a catalyst for social change. Its history is filled with secrets, controversies, and unexpected twists that have shaped the world we live in. Let's dive into the origins of coffee, exploring its mysterious arrival to humanity, and how its influence spread from the temples of Sufi monks to the bustling cafés of Europe, where philosophers and revolutionaries wove the ideas that would change the course of history. But we won't just linger on the historical aspects. We'll also uncover the impact coffee has on our energy, our consciousness, and our spiritual realm. If you've ever wondered whether coffee is just a drink, or if it truly serves as a bridge between the mundane and the divine, stick around until the end, because what you're about to discover could forever change how you see your cup of coffee. To understand the magnitude of coffee's impact on humanity, we must trace back to its mysterious origin. Legends take us to the mountains of Ethiopia, where a shepherd named Kaldi noticed that his goats, after nibbling on some reddish berries, seemed to burst with energy and vitality. Some even stood on two legs, while others butted heads eagerly. Intrigued, he took the berries to a nearby monastery, where the monks, discovering that this brew helped them stay awake during their nighttime prayers, began to incorporate it into their spiritual rituals. From these early encounters, coffee traveled into the Islamic world, becoming a key element within the Sufi tradition. Sufi mystics used coffee in their dialogues or during sessions of meditation and repetitive prayer, believing that this drink stimulated the spirit, sharpened the mind, and facilitated elevated states of consciousness. It was in these lands that coffee transformed from a simple beverage into a sacred drink known as the wine of Islam. However, its growing popularity also brought controversy. In the 10th century, religious and political authorities in the Ottoman Empire began to view it with suspicion. The places where people gathered to debate, philosophize, and share ideas turned into spaces for free thought, and in many cases, hotbeds of rebellion. Its influence was such that on several occasions, coffee was banned in Mecca and other regions of the Islamic world, as there was fear that its consumption could incite social disorder. But what was meant to remain in the East soon made its way to Europe. In the 15th century, Venetian merchants brought coffee to Italy, where it was met with skepticism. Some clergy considered it a satanic invention, while others, such as Pope Clement VIII, after trying it, declared its taste so exquisite that it should be baptized and accepted by the church. Thus, coffeehouses rapidly expanded across major European cities, becoming centers of culture, debate, and intellectual revolution. From London to Paris, cafés served as the stage where writers, philosophers, and politicians shaped modern thought. In the 17th century, France's cafés became the breeding ground of the Enlightenment, where figures such as Voltaire, Rousseau, and Diderot discussed human progress. In England, the so-called penny universities allowed anyone, for the price of a cup of coffee, to listen to philosophical and scientific discussions of the time. But what was it about coffee that made it so powerful? It was not just a stimulating beverage, but a catalyst for thought and revolution. While alcohol, dominant in the taverns of the time, dulled the senses, coffee sharpened them, fostering mental clarity and creativity. Thus, without anyone being able to foresee it, coffee became the driving force behind some of the most transformative changes in human history. Now that we understand its historical legacy and its role in the evolution of society, there's an even more intriguing question. What impact does coffee have on us at an energetic and spiritual level? To answer that, let's move on to the next part of this analysis. At first glance, coffee seems to be just a stimulating drink, a morning ally to wake up the mind and activate the body. But its effect goes far beyond the physical. From an energetic and spiritual perspective, Coffee acts as a dual force, having the power to elevate consciousness while also destabilizing the subtle centers of the human being. To understand how coffee interacts with our energy field, we must first analyze its influence on the nervous system. Caffeine works by blocking adenosine, the neurotransmitter responsible for the sensation of fatigue, keeping the mind in an artificially alert state. This stimulation, while it may enhance concentration and productivity in the short term, also comes at a cost: the depletion of the body's natural energy reserves. From an esoteric point of view, many traditions maintain that vital energy called prana in Hinduism, qi in Chinese medicine, or ether in Hermeticism, flows through our being naturally. Frequent consumption of stimulants like coffee interferes with this flow, generating a momentary sensation of power and mental clarity, but weakening the body's ability to regenerate and balance itself. From the perspective of ancient wisdom, coffee has a strong connection to the lower chakras, particularly the root chakra, Muladhara, and the solar plexus chakra, Manipura. The root chakra, Muladhara, is associated with survival and physical energy. Coffee activates this energy center, providing a momentary boost of vitality. However, being an artificial stimulation, it can create an energy dependency, reducing the body's natural ability to draw energy from internal sources. The solar plexus chakra, Manipura, is the chakra linked to willpower, determination, and ego. It is highly influenced by caffeine. Coffee can intensify the inner fire, increasing ambition and action, but it can also foster states of anxiety and stress when consumed excessively. On the other hand, there is a notable impact on the higher chakras. It's said that coffee, being rational, can interfere with the connection to the third eye chakra Ajna and the crown chakra Sahasrara, which are related to intuition and the expansion of consciousness. In practical terms, this means that while coffee can enhance analytical thinking and structured creativity, it may also hinder subtle perception and the connection to higher planes of existence. This presents a fascinating paradox. Throughout history, coffee has been used by mystics and philosophers to sharpen the mind and prolong states of concentration. However, purer spiritual traditions, such as Buddhism and certain branches of yoga, discourage its use, arguing that it interferes with the inner stillness necessary to achieve deep meditative states. Zen monks, for example, have preferred green tea, which contains L-theanine, an amino acid that balances the stimulation of caffeine with a calming effect. In contrast, coffee, by producing spikes of energy and states of mental hyperactivity, can lead to distraction and difficulties in reaching true introspection. But does this mean that coffee is an enemy of spiritual evolution? Not necessarily. It all depends on how it is consumed and the level of awareness with which it is used. Before continuing with this analysis, let's pause for a moment. So far, we have explored the energetic and spiritual impact of coffee from an esoteric perspective, but one fundamental aspect remains: its connection to emotional states and personal vibration. In the next part, we will delve deeper into the relationship between coffee, emotion, and vibrational frequency. We have examined how coffee impacts the mind and the energy system, but a key question still remains: how does it affect our emotions and our personal vibration? Every substance we consume not only influences our physical body, but also leaves an imprint on our energy field. If we observe the spiritual traditions that have studied the impact of food and beverages on consciousness, we find a common principle. Everything we ingest carries a vibration with it, and this vibration interacts with our own, altering our emotional and mental state. Coffee, being a highly stimulating substance, is linked to the vibration of fire and action. Energetically speaking, this means it temporarily elevates the frequency of the auric field, producing a sense of mental clarity, dynamism, and quick decision-making. However, this elevation is neither stable nor harmonious. Instead of consistently raising the vibration, coffee generates peaks of energy, followed by abrupt drops, which can create a cycle of dependency. One of the most notable effects of coffee is its relationship with anxiety and stress. The stimulation of the nervous system not only activates the body, but can also intensify latent emotional states. If a person is calm, coffee can provide an energy boost without generating negative effects. If a person is stressed or anxious, coffee will amplify those states, causing the mind to become more restless and less capable of finding balance. From the perspective of emotional vibration, coffee can act as a catalyst for internal states. It is not the direct cause of anxiety or nervousness, but it can enhance those emotions if they already exist within the person. The problem is not only the momentary stimulation from coffee, but also how it affects the natural flow of energy. When we rely on external substances to keep us active, we reduce the body's ability to generate its own vitality. Many spiritual traditions insist that true energy does not come from the outside, but from internal alignment with prana, chi, or vital energy. Great masters have stated that the energy we need is already within us, waiting to be activated through conscious breathing, balanced eating, and meditation practices. When coffee becomes a daily necessity, a phenomenon similar to that of any other stimulating substance occurs. The mind enters a state of energetic credit, borrowing a boost that will later need to be repaid with fatigue or emotional instability. So, how can we reap the benefits of coffee without falling into its negative effects? The answer lies in balance and awareness. Some key strategies may include 1. Mindful consumption. Instead of drinking coffee out of habit or dependence, do so only when you genuinely need a specific energy boost. Pair it with balancing practices. If you drink coffee, complement it with techniques like meditation or deep breathing to avoid overstimulating the nervous system. Observe its effects on your body and mind. Everyone has a different relationship with coffee. Recognizing how it affects your personal energy is crucial to decide whether its consumption is positive or not. Fourth, alternating with more harmonizing beverages like herbal teas, green tea, or ceremonial cacao can provide similar benefits without the side effects of coffee. Coffee, like any other tool, can be used consciously or unconsciously. The key is not to avoid it completely, but to understand how to interact with it in a way that benefits rather than disrupts. So far, we've explored the impact of coffee on energy, mind, and emotions. But there's one final aspect: its connection to spiritual awakening and esoteric practices. In the next section, we will see how different traditions have used coffee as a bridge between the conscious mind and the spiritual world. Throughout history, coffee has not only been a stimulating beverage, but also a tool used in rituals, meditation practices, and introspection processes. Its ability to clear the mind has made it an ally for concentration and reflection. However, as we've seen, its consumption must be handled with awareness to avoid energy dependency and negative effects on the auric field. Now, we will explore how to integrate coffee into spiritual life in a balanced way, preventing it from becoming an energy burden, and instead using it as an enhancer of mental clarity and inner connection. Some spiritual practitioners have used coffee to intensify concentration and mental sharpness before meditation. Its stimulating effect can be beneficial when trying to remain alert and aware during practices like contemplative meditation. Drinking a small amount of coffee before a session of introspection can help keep focus on a single deep thought or question. Study of sacred texts. Many esoteric schools have used coffee as an intellectual stimulant to deepen the understanding of philosophical and spiritual texts. Creative visualization can be enhanced by coffee. Some people find that coffee sharpens their imagination and allows for clearer exploration of the symbolic world during visualization practices. In certain cultures, coffee has been used not only as a beverage, but also as a tool for energetic cleansing. It is believed that its aroma and composition can absorb dense energies and transmute them. Some ways to use coffee for this purpose include coffee bath. Mixing ground coffee beans with warm water and using it as an exfoliant on the body, imagining that negative energies dissolve. Defumation with coffee. Burning dry coffee beans in a safe container to purify a space or cleanse stagnant energies. Offering at the altar. In some esoteric systems, coffee is placed on altars as an offering to gain clarity and spiritual guidance. For those who rely too much on coffee, it's important to reconnect with internal energy sources. Here are some methods to balance the energy system without solely depending on caffeine. Mindful eating, including more living and fresh foods in the diet, helps maintain high energy levels without the need for stimulants. Morning meditation. Without coffee, practicing meditation sessions before consuming coffee allows one to observe if it is truly needed or if it's just an automatic response. Natural substitutes. Infusions like matcha tea, ceremonial cacao, or ginseng can provide mental clarity without causing the same energetic impact as coffee. Coffee is neither good nor bad in itself, but unconscious use can have a negative impact on the body, mind, and spirit. The key is to transform the act of drinking coffee into a conscious experience, rather than a mechanical habit. Before having a cup of coffee, ask yourself these questions. Do I really need it, or is it just a habit? How do I feel before consuming it? And how does my energy change afterward? Am I using coffee as a support or as a crutch for energy? If every sip of coffee becomes an act of mindfulness, its consumption shifts from being a simple necessity to a spiritual tool. Coffee, more than just a beverage, has been a common thread throughout human history. From the Sufi mystics who used it to stay awake during their nighttime devotions, to philosophers and writers who found a spark of creativity in its aroma, coffee has transcended cultures and eras. However, as we've explored, its consumption is not merely physical. Its effect on our energetic field, our awareness, and our connection to the spiritual world is profound. It can be an ally for mental clarity and focus, but it can also become a hindrance if it turns into a dependency that disconnects us from our life energy. The key is balance. It's not about demonizing coffee or consuming it mindlessly, but about transforming our relationship with it into a deliberate and sacred act. If every cup we drink is accompanied by intention, gratitude, and awareness of its effects on our body and mind, coffee transitions from being just a habit to a powerful ritual. Now that you understand more about the hidden history of coffee and its impact on the energetic field, I invite you to pause and reflect. How is your relationship with coffee? Do you feel you use it as a conscious tool or as an automatic escape? How does your energy change before and after consuming it? If you wish to delve deeper into spiritual practices and the impact of certain habits on your evolution, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Share this video with those who are curious about the effects of coffee on the mind and soul. And of course, let us know in the comments. How has your experience with coffee been on your spiritual journey? The wisdom lies in how we choose to live, with awareness, with intention, and with the willingness to see beyond the obvious